Hello, welcome back. Do you want to sound more like a native speaker when you speak English? Okay, so in this video, I'm going to be talking about 5 tips that can instantly make you to look more a native speaker when you speak English. Okay, so I've got 5 tips to instantly sound more like a native speaker when you speak English. And the good news is that you don't need to spend a lot of time learning them and practicing them. These are small changes that will immediately make a difference. Sometimes I find there is a gap between the way that a native English speaker use English and the way that English learners speak, even if they have an high level. Sounds like they learned English rather than grew up with it. So today we are going to bridge that gap. Here are 5 things that you can learn fast, and these tips are for all levels of English, even if your English is not fantastic. The only thing that you have to do is just to follow these steps, and you are going to sound more confident and, more like a native speaker. The first tip is how we have to use may and might for when we talk about probability, that something, as some kind of some chance of a probability to happen. In English, we've got these beautiful modal verbs to talk about probability, but most students find it hardly to use them. Even with real advanced students, I hear, for example, maybe I go to Greece this year. Is that right? Maybe I go to Greece? No, it isn't. It is possible I will be late. When a native speaker would say, I may go to Greece this year, or I might be late. Don't complicate your life. Just use may and might before a verb to talk about probability. If I hear someone say, maybe I go, maybe I do, I know I'm not speaking to a native speaker. Is there a difference between may and might? Well, it's a small difference. May has a slightly higher level of a probability. I may go to Greece. We have a 70% of probability that this will happen. Yes, I might go to Greece. 50%, I don't have the statistic about what will happen, really will happen. May is a slightly higher level of a probability, but don't worry too much about that. Just use may and might for probability. Tip number 2, the use of have got for possession. In English, the most common way of talking about possession is the present. In the present is have got or haven't got in the negative. So, for example, I've got a pen, but I haven't got any money. This is especially true in question. Have you got a pen? That's what most native English speakers will say. Do you have a pen? Yes, it's correct. Sounds a bit formal. It's correct, but I hear some students say, have you a pen? I haven't got the statistic. It's grammatically correct, but nobody speaks like that. So, tip number 2 is use have got for possession. It's more natural, it's more native. Tip number 3, try to find alternative words to much and many and a lot of. These words are perfectly correct, but don't use them all the time. Try to use different and more advanced words, and this will really give you sentences a lift. For example, instead of say, I did a lot of work on this project, you could say, I did a great deal of work on this project. Instead of say, many people got involved, you can say a large number of people got involved. So it sounds better. For uncountable things, you have to use the expression a large amount. Find a place to stay took a large amount of time, for instance. And if you want to sound informal, use lots of. I ate lots of dog nut this afternoon and I might be sick. I spent lots of money on my Hello Kitty collection and I may have the best Hello Kitty collection in the world. So, there you are. So, to sound more advanced or more informal, just like native speakers, find alternatives to much, many, and lot. Tip number 4 is don't use very. You have to use understatement. British people love understatement. So, understatement is say something is less important than it is actually, and we use it all the time. And by using in, you'll give your sentences a lift, a nuance, and sound more native. So instead of very, try some of these words: quite, pretty, rather, fairly. So instead of saying, I'm very tired, say, I'm rather tired. Instead of say, I'm very hungry, you have to say, I'm pretty hungry. Instead of say, I'm very surprised, say, I'm quite surprised. Instead of saying, Lukaku is a very good footballer, you have to say, Lukaku is fairly good. And this is true. Tip number 5. Don't say thank you. Well, that's not quite true. But if someone gives you something or does a small favor for your native British English speakers, might use, other words and other words. In London, we just say cheers. So, if you want to sound friendly, some people say ta. Of course, sometimes you can say thank you if someone does something, a big favor or saves your life. Then, by all means, you can say thank you. But if just is a small act or kindness, for instance, someone holds the door open for you, then just say cheers. If someone asks you, this is another important, tip. It's the sixth tip to be precise. If someone asks you, do you speak English? What do you reply? Don't say, yes, I do. You want to give the impression that this question is a little bit ridiculous, is absurd, that you won't even dignify that with a serious response. So, don't stand there like a robot and say, yes, I do. Instead say, I get by, or I manage, or just a smattering. If you don't know what smattering is, just check your dictionary. By using one of these phrases, you'll sound more confident and the people will believe you. It's also, linked to the British love of understatement that we talked about earlier. Okay, so if you find these, I do hope you find these 5, 6 tips, useful. And I just say, cheers, see you next time.